I grew up in a culture which was very unbalanced. Only high distinctions and gold medal were allowed. Failure was unacceptable. So I'm glad I came to America where it was accepted. It's formed by immigrants who left their homeland with all kinds of failures behind them and started life anew. And so this country is built with entrepreneurs. And we may not all be immigrants personally, but we are offsprings of immigrants, and so risk-taking should be in our DNA, and has been. Lately, unfortunately, and the Chapter 11 bankruptcy laws helped. You could start all over again, so that you could take risks again and be vulnerable. Lately, however, things have changed. Statistics show that the number of startups in this country has declined by 50%, 50. And what's worse is where we stand in Minnesota. We are number 47. We're number 47, and meanwhile, Beijing is number 1 in terms of new innovation, and those who call it the new Silicon Valley believe Beijing would be the next Silicon Valley. And yes, New Delhi and Bangalore and Mumbai are there. And so where we do, here's Madison, and here's where Minnesota is. Minnesota nice doesn't help. Yes, it's cold, both in temperature and in the climate. And Minnesota nice won't fix it. Our objective today is to reverse Minnesota's dismal position in this innovation space. Build an ecosystem that supports this innovation. It should be scalable, and so that we can take ideas and take them up to the innovation scale. The program today is filled with that. Draw inspiration from others, because we have to get failure out of our system. We can't let it burn inside and eat you up. Then why do we have to make all the failures ourselves? Why can't we learn from other people's failures? Build the right mindset so we deal with it right. And there are plenty of resources available in our neighborhood. We can engage with them collectively. My part in my time allocated to me is that failure is truly an integral part of innovation. It's built into it, so get used to it. Dalai Lama has some great things to say. Great love and great achievements involve great risks, we all know that. When you lose, you don't lose the lesson. That is the important part. And remember that not getting you what you want is sometimes a wonderful stroke of luck. We'll have some speakers who'll talk to that particular aspect of things. Failure is an opportunity to begin again, only more intelligently. So my special appeal to the wounded entrepreneur friends in the audience and elsewhere is, please don't take failure as final. You have failed. We all know that making mistakes is inevitable. Matt talked about it, so I won't beat that to death. Failure is set a strong qualification for success. In Silicon Valley, actually, they put it on their t-shirts, because that's a badge of honor that you've failed, you've learned the lessons. But most people believe failure is bad. These are indisputable facts. So how do you fight these indisputable facts and then change our own mindset? So let's look at why failure is important. We are living in a changing environment. Anybody who thinks that tomorrow is going to be the same as yesterday belongs in a different place. The common reaction to change is, let's just get back to blocking and tackling and everything would be fine. Why do we do that? Because we take comfort in status quo. We'd rather go down than change. most of our leaders have come from yesterday's rules and they have to play by tomorrow's rules. Do you see the disconnect there? The problem changes, which makes it that whatever perfect solution that you had figured out after a lot of trial and error is worthless. It reduces your effectiveness. Innovation results are marginal, we all know that. Why? Because we hate change and love it at the same time, but what we really want is for things to remain the same but get better. So once you have figured out the right answer to your problem, unfortunately the problem itself changes. And maybe you're more vulnerable to the new problem than you were before. And who has time for innovators? No, I cannot see any crazy salesman. We've got a battle to fight. The daily battle takes all the energy that you have. Expert opinions, they don't know what they're talking about. In hindsight, if you look at experts, often what they say is, stay with the course, status quo. Train travel is not possible. Passengers unable to breathe would die of asphyxia. The only company that's listed in the constitution of a country, Western Union, the telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. He should have lived a few more years and found even telephones are no longer the thing. Who the hell wants to hear actors talk, said Harry Warner. I think there's a world market for about 5 computers, Tom Watson of IBM. Computers in the future may weigh no more than 1.5 tons. What the hell is it good for? Robert Lloyd of IBM and the microprocessor, and Decca Recording Company rejecting the Beatles. We don't like their sound, and guitar music is on their way out anyway. So don't expect that the experts know the answers. They are vested in keeping status quo. When I was a graduate student, my professor put up these equations for learning to ride a bike. He said, you can do that, or you can go in the parking lot, scrape your knees a few times, and you learn how to ride a bike. Your choice. In our effort to become efficient, we forget that sometimes the most efficient way of learning is by failing a few times. So who thrives in these environments? The archetypical innovators are designers, inventors, entrepreneurs. Why? Because it gives them a chance to win. If status quo was going to last, then whoever was on top will be on top forever. There's no chance for you to recover. Opportunity is never lost. They seize what you have missed. That's the beauty of entrepreneurs. So what we need in this complex society is a mind shift. Failure is not just an outcome. It's rooted in every step of innovation process. So we have to redefine the failure, and we'll do that. And we have to create what I call intelligent failures. Because you know you'll fail, you might as well fail intelligently. So let's go to the roots of the definition of innovation. Idea, a thought, a mental conception, a mental image. Implement, to carry into effect, to fulfill, to accomplish. Innovation, an act of effecting change in the established order. Introduction of something new. So the definition of innovation comes straight out of these. An idea that is implemented. And the engineer in me has to put a formula to it, so I put it. Innovation is idea times implementation. If you have 0 ideas, no innovation. If you have no implementation, no innovation. So it's not a eureka chance thing that it falls from the sky one day. There's a process to it. 4 steps. Ideation. Generate lots of ideas, because you know many of them will fail. Select the key ideas that you're willing to bet on, pilot it, and then keep improving it, the incremental part. Oh, sorry. So you begin with ideation. Why do you generate lots of ideas? Let's learn from the longest surviving thing on earth, nature. Evolution is very harsh. It generates thousands of pollen, knowing that only a handful will become seed. Lots of seeds, only a few will become seedlings. Why? Why does the nature who knew everything, why did they design it so? Because they didn't want the blight in Ireland to wipe out all the potatoes. The generation of a multitude of combination and permutation prevents you from having a catastrophic failure. Little failures help you prevent that big one. And that's how we have evolved. So the second part is take those lots of ideas and intelligently fail them. $64,000 question. Is it a good opportunity for me today? Me, opportunity. Keywords, today, third. If these three things fit, that's a key idea. And then, of course, you go through the pilot and the usual method. Now, this method is normally applied in a step-by-step process in a large company, a gated process. But same ideas, ideation, opportunity identification, opportunity evaluation, plain with plan, crafting, transition, improvement. But at every step, there's a gatekeeper to say, go, no go. A large company can afford to have all that. If you are an entrepreneur, you don't have gates. You have to create those gates. You start with the idea, identify is it an opportunity. If it is, you'll be able to attract talent. You have a founding team, but you know you have more work to do. Put the plan together. See if there are any fatal flaws in your plan. Get the funding. And the last thing you want to do with that funding is buy a Ferrari because you're not successful yet. Begin your sales. And then you have to, so now you have shown that the dog will eat the dog food, but will more dogs eat the dog food? That's the question. You have to show sales growth. And then only you get sales, initial success. My colleague Diane will go through this. There are 24 steps that an entrepreneur goes through before they can reach that ultimate quote-unquote success. Can you see at every step there's a failure? If you look at that as a failure, you're doomed anyway. If you look at that as a narrowing, as a converging point, then you succeed. Now, the difference between an entrepreneur and a manager is very simple. They still have to worry about opportunities, they still have to worry about the team, they still have to worry about the plans, they still have to worry about the resources. The difference is, for a manager, they have resources. So the motor is going there and they hook their success to that resource. What kind of distribution channels do we have? What kind of products do we have, etc. An entrepreneur doesn't have any of that. So they have to hook it to the opportunity. Give me a big enough opportunity and I'll figure out the rest of it. That's the thing. But the steps are the same. Different motivation. When the pattern is broken, a new world emerges. So I don't mean this as a manager or an entrepreneur, but the managerial process of strategic planning, step-by-step projection based on past performance, button-down plan. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll see it when I believe it, says the entrepreneur. Incremental innovation versus, what's the point of incremental? If I'm going to do it, I want to be disruptive. And continue to repeat the process for the manager. No, for the entrepreneur. Try, fail, pivot. So, what's driving the manager is the fear of failure. What's driving the entrepreneur is to build, I have to tear down. Very simple difference between the thinking. That's the qualitative difference. The process is the same, but the patina of qualitative is very different. So, failure is not just an outcome. It has to be built into the process of innovation. Let's look at the steps. The first step is forming, where you throw lots of things at the wall to see which sticks, the trial and error, full of high failure. Breakpoint, okay, I have a few things now sticking to the wall. Which ones do I focus on? Which one do I sort? Which one do I try? Again, high failure. Now everything is set, the dog is eating the dog food, everything is cozy. Just continue to replicate the success. You got the blueprint, high success rate. But like everything in life, sooner or later, that thing doesn't go forever, no longer working. Incorporate what you have ignored. So you have two choices. Stay on the course, the status quo that we talked about. Repeat, 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 repeat instantly till you die. This is what is called the failure. On the other hand, if you are capable of renewing, getting the rebirth going, you will have high failure and repeat the process again. So, norm and evolution and revolution are part of growth. Therefore, we better get used to the two differences. So let's redefine failure. Lack of success should be the starting line. Screw up should be a sign of innovation. Unknown should be a creative challenge. I put them in quotes because that's the way we should deal with these terms as opposed to the traditional word, the conventional word that we have on the left. Successful, one can never be full of success. Successful is having many successes, often overshadowing many failures. That is the definition of success that we should embrace. So, designing intelligent failure. Failure is an experimentation for learning and growth. It's a broader ideation, generate and create low-cost smart failures. Cheap pilots, no large budget dramatic experiments, dry run simulations, cheap failures. Analyze anatomy of a failure. Success are well documented, but failures are buried. So we continue to make the same mistakes again and again. My colleague Diana will talk about how actually mining the failures can give you insights into successes. So we have to build a culture of learning. We have to counteract the blame game. Clear review of what happened, not who did it. What happened, not who did it. The balance is necessary, but not anything, not the reckless behavior of anything goes. Now that means that we have to become pragmatists as opposed to perfectionists. So the insights that we get from success creation is, success comes from doing a little bit better in a number of things. Failure comes from doing any one of a number of things poorly. And so the process of success creation is very simple. One by one reduction of failures as you go through the innovation process. As I said, failure is an integral part of innovation. Get used to it. Thank you.